Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I thank you for tuning in. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. So y'all, I came to film this video and talk to you all about why I got a laparoscopic hysterectomy and another fibroid surgery removal at 34. So if you have something going on similar to this, then this is a video for you. If you haven't already, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those bell post notifications. That way you know the next time I post a new video. Now, if you're interested in this topic, then please stay tuned for this video. Okay, y'all, so as I said previously, I am 34. I'll be turning 35 in August. I know a lot of people always say that being 34 is too young to have a hysterectomy, but in the case of my doctor and the doctor that I have, he was completely on board with me getting a hysterectomy because I knew that I only wanted to have one child. So this is something that I was supposed to be getting done probably 2.5 or 3 years ago. But I will say this may not be for everyone. This is something that I wanted to do. It wasn't that I had to do it, but I really wanted to get it done because I was sick of the periods. My periods would be 5 days, but they would be crucial. My periods had got so bad to the point to where I was having to wear a pad and a tampon, and I would bleed through the tampon and the pad within a certain amount of time, y'all. So when I would go to work, I would have to make sure that I wore black anytime I was on my period, because if not, I was gonna mess up my clothes. Like, that's how severe it was. And then I had started getting like really big blood clots again, and y'all, it was just a mess. So having to deal with that every month is like, I'm sorry. I know people don't like to get cut on and all of that, but I feel like that was the best decision for me because I wanted it gone. I didn't want to have to deal with that anymore. Now I can wear whatever I want, whenever I want. The fibroids, they made a small incision where I had already had an incision from my previous surgeries. They made that small incision only because my fibroids were still small enough for them to be able to remove them with the robot. So it made it so much easier instead of having to cut me open and then do all of that. So if, like I said, if you are looking to get either the fibroid surgery removal or the hysterectomy, I highly recommend. The only thing with the fibroid surgery is after having the surgery, they can come back. And like I said, I don't want to fully just get into the fibroids on this video because I have a video for that, but they do come back for some people. I'm not going to say everybody, but for me, mine came back. And majority of people that I talked to that had the fibroid surgery, they come back. And sometimes when they come back a lot worse. Just keep that in mind if you are looking to have the fibroid surgery. But like I said, I wouldn't recommend the hysterectomy if you are looking to have more kids. So yeah, I want to clear that up. I know a lot of people always tell me that their doctor won't do it because they are too young. When I tell y'all I love him, like I love him, he was on board with everything that I had to say about why I wanted it done. He never gave me any pushback. He's amazing. He's the same man that delivered my baby for me, and you know, he was just on board, and I love that about him because he wasn't one of those doctors and that, you know, I should have more kids and la da 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 da. I feel like as a doctor, you shouldn't push that on people because at the end of the day, you're not going to take care of them. I'm gonna have to take care of them. So if I've made a decision of not wanting to have any more kids, I feel like that should be my choice. I just want to kind of get into my backstory. In 2019, I was like 28, somewhere in there, 27, 28. But I had fibroids, and if you haven't checked out that video, please make sure you check it out. I didn't know that I had fibroids, but I was talking with my mom and my grandmother, and basically they were telling me that we had a family history of fibroids. So I ended up going to get checked because I was having some issues with my periods, being heavy, having a lot of fatigue and bloating and all of the things. And so after discussing that with them and getting checked, ended up having fibroids. So I ended up having to have a myomectomy surgery, and 2020, and after I had that surgery, I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter like 2 months later. Fast forward to maybe 2024, I started having issues again with my periods being heavy, and fatigue and bloating, and just all the symptoms, back pain, and I couldn't lose weight, and just all of those things were happening again. So I was like, well, let me get checked again. He ended up doing a sonogram, and they seen that I had fibroids. They had returned again. So after that, he ended up telling me, like, you know, he really recommended that I go ahead and get it done. But I was explaining to him as well that I did not want any more kids. He was telling me that, you know, he could do both of them at once. So the hysterectomy and remove the fibroids as well. So I ended up scheduling the surgery. Like I said, I ended up having to reschedule twice. Once I got sick, and then the second time I had a bunch of things going on. Last year, I made it a point that I was not rescheduling. I was going to make sure that I got this done because, like I said, I did not want to be in a position where I ended up having another kid. Not in that way, because there are always ways to prevent you from having kids, but you get the point. Even the fibroids just growing bigger, because they're basically tumors. They're non-cancerous tumors, but you know, they can grow really fast and really big. My last fibroids that I had were golf ball and tennis ball size. I did not want to chance them growing any bigger than what they were. I ended up having my surgery December 30th. I will say, I think the surgery ended up taking 2 hours or so. When I got done, they removed my uterus. I still have my ovaries, so I still have hormone. He said that my uterus and my ovary were stuck together, as well as my butt. It's kind of hard to explain. I'm not a doctor, so I can't explain all these things, but it was a weird thing to say. It was just weird because I was like, okay, now I understand why I was in so much pain. He let me know my abdominal area would be tender for a while. Everything went so well. I was off for 7 weeks. Of course, you know, you have to go back for a checkup, I think after 2 weeks, so you can't drive for the first 2 weeks. My restrictions were no lifting over 10 pounds. It was supposed to be no walking up and down the stairs, but yeah, it was hard for me to not sit down, especially when you have a toddler. When you have a toddler, it's kind of hard to not be moving around and being active. So I did move around a lot. I'm also not a person to really just let myself sit, but overall, I healed really well. I could not take a bath until after my 6 weeks, and they checked and made sure that I was good down there. He told me that my stitches were healing very well. Did not have to cut me open too bad, because the way that they did it, I already had an incision from when I had my myomectomy, my C-section, and when I had my lipo surgery. So he made a really small incision on the other end of my stomach, and y'all, you can't even tell that they went back in. That's how good of a job they did. I would say that the first week was kind of like, the first week and a half was probably my hardest, because you know, you have to take your medication and all of that. But normally after surgery, for me, I try to wean myself off like the 3rd or 4th day if I can. That way, you know, you don't want to depend on your medication. So I kind of weaned myself off of it. I did have to wear a pad. I could not wear a tampon. I had to wear a pad for the whole 6 weeks because the bleeding was off and on. And I had got scared at like week 3 because I had like one issue where I was feeling dizzy. And then I think like the next night I ended up having like a blood pocket that kind of had, I guess it had been stuck up there, and it was just over time waiting to come down. And then when it finally came down, I had bled a little more than I was used to, but they told me that it was totally normal. I will say the first 2 or 3 weeks I was having hot flashes, and y'all, it was driving me insane because I I don't sweat like that. I'm not a sweater. So when I ended up having the hot flashes, y'all, it was crazy because it was making me so moody. My mood was like, I was angry, I was irritated, I would get really hot, and then after I cut the air on or the fan on, then I would get really, really cold. Then, yeah, y'all, it was just, it was up and down. But overall, I'm so glad that I made that decision. It feels great to not have periods anymore. It feels great mentally, physically. I feel so good. Like, it feels like I have my life back. Like, I have so much energy now. I'm not normally like tired a lot. I'm not so moody, not so irritated. It is like the best feeling in the world. So I am 100% thankful and so glad that I made that decision that I did to get it done. But I feel like that was the best decision for me as a mom, being a mom of one, you know, especially in today's world and the way everything is going. One child is enough for me. I still got the experience of being a mother, but I also still get the experience of me and building me as well. The day of surgery, the instructions were, you know, you shower with the soap, and they took me in, you know, they check for your vitals and all of that, make sure you're good. And I think my surgery was at 10 and it was over at 12. And then by 2, I was in a room. When I woke up, the only issue that I was a little nauseated. They want to make sure, they ended up keeping me overnight. My doctor kept me overnight. Some people normally don't have to stay. My doctor wanted to keep me in case, you know, just because everybody's body reacts different. He wanted to keep me because he said he wanted to make sure that I didn't bleed out too much, which I didn't even have any blood the day of. It was just hard for me to walk, to go and pee, which they want to make sure that you are using the bathroom frequently before you leave. I was getting up, walking around, moving around because I was ready to go home. At 6 weeks, I went and got my checkup. They checked on the inside to make sure my stitches were healing well. And after that, I was good. But I will say this now, I did end up getting a urinary tract infection. I had never experienced before. I've never had a UTI, but I ended up catching it earlier. So when I called them to let them know that I was having the urgency of urinating, you know, it was like giving me a little pain down there. All they did was calling me a prescription, and they called me that prescription. I think I had to take it for like 3 days, and that was it. If you are a mother out there and you're done having kids, I completely recommend y'all to not have to deal with the periods every month and the 5 days and, you know, the whole week of being bloated, the whole 2 weeks basically. So I really only had 2 weeks to be okay. And then the other 2 weeks I was bloated and just uncomfortable. I was hurting like in my abdominal area. Sex was painful. It was definitely painful at certain points. And y'all, I'm telling y'all, this is probably the happiest I've been in a long time. Like, I just feel so refreshed and different. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. I just wanted to come on here and tell you all about that. If you're thinking about doing it, I highly, highly, highly recommend. If you're done having kids, it's like the best decision ever. If you have any questions, leave the questions down below and I'll make sure I get back to you all. If you haven't already, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and turn on those bell post notifications. That way you know the next time that I post a new video. I love you all. I thank you all so, so much. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.